So, this is a story in two parts, folks. We are very used to, on the left here, being picked up and dropped. So, here's the pickup. We want everybody walking out. UAW chief outlines mass strike for May 2028. Shawn Fain, the United Auto Workers president, reaffirms general strike on May 1st, 2028, saying members need to come together. Yeah. Shawn Fain, the United Auto Workers president, criticized Donald Trump on Monday, but declined to back Joe Biden as he reaffirmed plans to lead a general strike in the United States in 2028. Speaking to union members at the UAW National Political Conference in Washington, D.C., Fain said it was time for union members to come together. A general strike is a mass strike across various industries around similar demands or bargaining positions. In the U.S., they have been virtually non-existent in recent decades, given the passage of the Taft-Hartley Act in 1947 that restricted secondary strikes and the decline of labor unions in the U.S. since the 1970s. After successfully taking on the U.S. auto companies, Fain has emerged as a potent political figure courted by Trump and Biden. Fain also used his speech to criticize Trump, telling reporters that Trump is, as a person, pretty much contrary to everything we stand for. But the UAW has yet to formally endorse Biden, more on that in a moment, who was the first president to walk on a picket line with striking workers in September 2023. Fain told reporters the union will be holding formal discussions on an endorsement amid rumors that Biden may address the union in person later this week. So here's Shawn Fain setting the contract expiration date for May Day, May 1st, big labor holiday, obviously, 2028, and calls for a general strike that day.
Something that's not talked about a lot, but it's very significant, is we set a new contract deadline for May the 1st, 2028. May Day, International Solidarity Day. We did this for two reasons. I've always thought in my walk as a union rep that September was the worst time in the world to be going out on strike because sales start lagging when we get into the winter months. May made a hell of a lot more sense. But it also made sense to do it in a unified approach. We got to get back to the days, we got to pay for our sins of the past. Back in 1980, when Reagan at the time fired the Patco workers, everyone in this country should have stood up and walked the hell out. We missed the opportunity then, but we're not going to miss it in 2028. That's the plan. We want a general strike. We want everybody walking out, just like they do in other countries.
All right. So that is the pick-me-up. Sounds great so far, everybody, does it not? And here's the hammer. United Auto Workers Union endorses Joe Biden for president. The UAW formally backs president's re-election campaign after both Biden and Donald Trump courted the powerful group. The powerful United Auto Workers Union, there's the correct headline, formally endorsed Joe Biden's re-election campaign on Wednesday at the union's National Community Action Program conference in Washington, D.C. Both U.S. President and rival Donald Trump have courted the union and supported its successful strike action against the U.S.'s big three automakers last year. Biden became the first president to walk a picket line in support of the union. Joe Biden bet on the American worker while Donald Trump blamed the American worker, UAW President Shawn Fain told the conference. If our endorsement must be earned, Joe Biden has earned it. Donald Trump is a scab. Donald Trump is a billionaire, and that's who he represents, Fain said. This election is about who will stand up with us and who will stand in our way. So the UAW bends the knee to Joe Biden, and Shawn Fain, dressed up in a suit and tie, dropped the working class garb. See, he got his mind right real quick. As soon as he endorsed Joe Biden, suit, tie, Fox News. Here we go. Here's Shawn Fain explaining to Fox's Neil Cavuto why they endorsed Joe Biden.
Endorsements go. They
Neil,
don't
have
get
you ever
any
had
bigger
beluga
than
caviar?
This if you're running for president of the United States. The United Auto Workers coming out for Joe Biden. That's a lot of personnel and power to commit to the president's reelection. The guy behind it, kind enough to join us, Shawn Fain, the head of the UAW. Shawn, very good to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You could have considered Donald Trump. You did not. Why not?
Well, I mean, you know, if you look at
just the facts and the body of work of both candidates, and both of them, in their own words, nowhere in history has Donald Trump ever stood for the American worker. He stands against pretty much everything that we stand for.
So you committed to Joe Biden. Many people are noticing it seems very late to commit to him. Were there any doubts? Were there any concerns?
No, never a doubt. I mean, look, we have a process we follow, and, our leadership.
Never a doubt? What do you mean never a doubt? If there was never a doubt, why'd you hold out so long?
Yeah.
What does that mean, there was never a doubt?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, why didn't you endorse him already? Did maybe breaking the railroad worker strike, did that give you pause?
Did that give you pause? Yeah, maybe that gave you a doubt.
Because there's only one person running for president who's ever broken a strike, and that's Joe Biden.
That's right.
As we said, our endorsements are going to be earned and not freely given anymore. And so,
hold on. Let's play this back.
Very late to commit to him. Were there any doubts? Were there any concerns?
No, never a doubt. I mean,
never a doubt.
We have a process we follow, and our leadership. As we said, our endorsements are going to be earned.
So there was never a doubt we were going to endorse him, but our endorsements have to be earned. That sounds like maybe there was a doubt at some point, and he must have done something that got rid of that doubt, but he didn't really do anything between when you said you were 50-50 on endorsing him or not and when you chose to endorse him. We know they met. I don't know what was said in that room, but those two statements certainly don't jive. What do you mean there was never any doubt but our endorsement have to be earned? Those two things contradict each other. If there's never any doubt that you're going to endorse him, that means that it didn't have to be earned. It means you were holding out, maybe for a better deal. Maybe that's it. Maybe they knew they were going to endorse him eventually. They just had to keep quiet because that would give them an upper hand in the negotiations. Maybe they felt if they withheld the endorsement, it would incentivize Biden to work with them a little bit more to get them a better deal. But it sounds to me like there was never really any doubt that they were going to endorse him. It was just a matter of time.
It sounds to me like he was having an after-work drink, and he woke up the next morning next to a dead hooker with James Carville smoking a cigarette and explaining to him what he's going to do about the endorsement. Look, all these guys bend the knee. They all bend the knee, and I'm not conspiracy minded, but it does make you wonder. Like, do these people get threatened? Like, what happens? What happens? Because this Sean Fain, this kind of a running theme. You're seeing this reemergence of a type that we haven't seen in decades, the fiery union leader. When was the last time you saw that?
Right.
I mean, these guys just have been working hand in glove with the companies that they're supposed to be having these antagonistic negotiations with for decades. We haven't seen this since the 70s, not since Reagan broke the air traffic controllers. And even he, and what he's saying about Donald Trump, don't get me wrong. I'm from New York. Long before he was a political figure, everybody knew he stiffs contractors. Like, it was well known all around the city that Donald Trump would make you take him to court to try to get your money. He wouldn't just pay you. So Donald Trump is a total fucking scumbag. He talks that talk like he cares about workers. He doesn't give a shit. He never cared about the workers that he hired. He's going to care about the workers of America. He's not wrong about any of that. I could understand not endorsing Trump,
of course,
but why don't you basically do what the Muslim community is doing and refuse to endorse him?
Exactly.
You could at least go that far to make a statement. Hey, you cannot take labor for granted anymore, and doing a little publicity stunt, showing up on a picket line, doesn't make up for breaking a railroad union strike.
Of course, and representing capital against labor in all kinds of other ways. I want to play a little more of this, and then we'll talk a little bit more.
And not freely given anymore. And so, we had to look at a lot of things. And overall, we just had our contract fight with the big three, and our most successful contract in history. And, President Biden stood there with us on the picket line, unlike President Trump back in 2019 when GM was on strike for 40 days and he was completely non-existent. And silent on the issue. I can go down through the list of things, the difference in the candidates, but it's very clear to us who stands with working class people in this country and who stands against them.
Okay. Now, if it was, to Russ's point, if it was always going to be a binary choice, Biden or Trump, I would have bet everything I own that given those options, UAW would back Biden.
Right.
I never expected them to back Trump. I mean, look at Sean Fain's rhetoric up there, right? Sean Fain sounds a lot like a Bernie Sanders. And what do we know Bernie Sanders always does at the end of the day? Caves, right? So he sounds like a progressive firebrand who the question is, does he allow himself to get co-opted by the Democratic Party or does he take a stand as an independent? So to me, the question was never Trump or Biden. I would have bet everything I owned that the UAW was never going to endorse Trump. But that's not the point. The point is, as Russ said, you could do what the Arabs are doing now in swing states, right? Not all Arabs, but there's a huge movement amongst Arab voters now across Michigan and various swing states. Right. Yeah. 83%, 17% said they're voting for Biden. So yeah, you have this huge cohort who's saying we're not endorsing Trump. In fact, we are as part of this effort, specifically making a point not to vote for president at all. So why can't UAW say the same thing? Say, look, we're not going to endorse Trump. The question is, do we endorse Biden or do we withhold our endorsement and not endorse anybody? And that, to me, was obviously the better move because what you've done here is proven, once again, that at the end of the day, they can count on you no matter what they do. Yep. It takes a 30-second speech on a picket line to get your endorsement. That's it. And UAW joined several other unions. The nurses union was one of them, a couple others. I don't have the names with me right now, but they called for a ceasefire, right? So there was no ceasefire, right? So like there are ways to make political statements as an organization that actually give your organization more power long term. And then there's this. This is same old, same old.
Well, that would be a good way to go. Hey, you want our endorsement? You need to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. Right. That's a very easy way to make it conditional and to pretty much guarantee you're not going to have to endorse because he's not going to do it.
Exactly. And if he does do it, then you take the win. You endorse him and take the win. Yeah, that's how it works. Yep. Of course, they weren't going to get a ceasefire, so it would have worked out the way you said. But yeah, there you have it. And as far as that, just last point, he said it's late in the calendar to do this. It would be late assuming there was an actual primary, but it's not late given that there was no real primary this year. It's January. The election's in 10 months. That's plenty of time. They fell in line very, very quickly, factoring in all things.
September is late.
Yeah, September is late. January of 2024, you got 10 months. That's not late.
Please clap.